All right, shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday class, Yalkut Yosef. As we said last class as well, this class is going to be dedicated to Leilu Nishmat Yudo Ben Yafa, as well as Chana Bat Avraham, right, William? I'm getting the name right, I hope.
Thank you, yes. Thank you so much.
All right. So we are holding in the topic of Otzaat Sefer Torah. Last time we spoke about what is the right way to take out a Sefer Torah from a place and can we bring it to another place. We saw that it's not so simple. We ended with Simchat Torah. We said that on Simchat Torah, then there's it's a happy occasion. You're allowed to take the Torahs out to the street. And then we said, why? What's the reasoning behind it? That since it's the honor of the Torah, whenever you do something for the honor of the Torah, then there's no questions. The questions begin when you do it for yourself. A bunch of guys want to go somewhere and they want to take a Torah with them. You have to ask a Rav, you have to find the right way to do it. Yigal Baruch Haba. So now we're going to discuss the Olim La Torah. So as we mentioned last time, there are different amounts of Olim between Mondays, Thursdays, and Mincha Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, Yom Tov, Yom Kippur, and Shabbat from 3 to 7. Now, what regarding Mosifim, right? On Shabbat, in the Mashari shuls, especially when we have a Simcha, Mosifim, more Olim, people want to go, they have a Simcha, right? It's not so simple to have Mosifim as well. So just so you know, Mondays and Thursdays, no Mosifim. No matter how many Semachot you want, you have 2 Chatanim, you have 2 Brit Milah, 3 Brit Milah, it doesn't matter. There are only 3 Olim, you cannot change from that. What can you do? If you have, let's say, 2 Chatanim on a Monday morning, and you want to give both of them the Aliyah, you could ask the Kohen, or if it's a few Kohanim, please step out of the Kanisa, so that the first Chatan can go up first Aliyah, and the last Chatan can go on the last Aliyah, and you find a way to do that, unless, the second Chatan is a Levi, then you don't have a problem, you do Levi and Israel. But if you do have a problem, you're allowed to ask the Kohen to step outside. What happens, says Yalkut Yosef, if there is a Nadiv Sheba Michul? Nadiv is a generous man. That's the language of saying he who supports the yeshiva. You have a guy sending millions a year to one of the yeshivot. Baruch haba, Yona. Baruch haba. Is this Uncle Mike? Baruch haba. And he's supporting millions. And now he came to pray with the minyan that he's supporting from New York. So we're not going to give him an aliyah. The guy's holding the yeshiva. He's called a Nadiv Sheba Levaker. So we need his donations. We need to keep him happy. So if the Kohen disagrees to leave, which means he says, no, I don't care that you have a big client over here and you want to give him Aliyat Kohen and you want me to step out. I'm a Kohen. I deserve this first Aliyah. I'm staying. I don't know what scenario that could happen, but imagine that it's not such a united community, or the Kohen has his own reasons and he needs that Aliyah. You are allowed to say, says the Yalkut Yosef, that this man can go up afal pi she'u Kohen. Meaning, even though there's a Kohen here, we're giving this man the first Aliyah and we're giving his son, for example, the third Aliyah, right? When we have 2 Chatanim, so the Ashkenazim, actually, that's their custom. But he says that better not to do that. Better not to latriach et hatzibur, to tire the tzibur, right? For a Talmid Chacham, it's a different story. A few times I had the zchut of praying in the minyan al Rav Ovadia Yosef, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. And every time I was there on a Monday or Thursday, it wasn't so many times, every time I was there, he would always get Aliyat Rishon. There was no question. When he's such a big tzaddik, Talmid Chacham, his honor is greater than the Kohen, then they would give him the Aliyah. But he says, don't always do it.
But leave, the Kohanim have to leave the shul or they can stay there?
So, ideally, the Kohen should leave the shul. No, when there's a Talmid Chacham, I don't remember when Rav Ovadia went up, Yalkut Yosef says it explicitly. When the Talmid Chacham goes up, you don't have to leave, because everybody understands that there's no problem with the Kohen. You have to understand, what is the problem? Why don't we have 2 brothers go up one after the other? That's for Ain Hara. But there's another reason why we have issues, is someone may think that there's a problem with the Kohen. Right? So that's why you don't, for example, we have a Kohen Ole Rishon. We're always concerned that people are going to think, oh, why did you bring a Kohen Aliyat Levina? Was the first Kohen not good? Was there a problem with him? So that's the concern. When a Talmid Chacham goes up, everybody knows that in his honor, Rav Ovadia's honor, he gets the Aliyah. There's no problem with the Kohen. But when it's just a rich guy that came from abroad and we want to give him the kavod because he's supporting the yeshiva, not everybody may know that. And if the Kohen is there and we're not giving him the aliyah, people may think there's a problem with the Kohen. Then we ask him to leave. If he still doesn't want to leave, then you could say, you verbalize, af al pi sheyesh kan Kohen, even though there's a Kohen here, we're going to honor this man. All right. What about mechirot, selling, right? You're talking about musifim. The famous line is, Kol ha-mosif, mosifim lo min ha-shamayim. Whoever adds to the bidding, they add to him from shamayim. So, are you allowed to sell mechirot? We already said that you can, right? Because it's a mitzvah, even on Shabbat. But, says the Yalkut Yosef, the aliyah of the Kohen and the aliyah of the Levi, don't sell it on a regular basis. Why? Because there's a pasuk that says v'kidashto. You should honor him, you should glorify him, and that goes towards the tribe of Levi, which is the Kohen and the Levi. But if you are going to always sell it, what's the difference between the Kohen, Levi, and the other people? You're not doing the mitzvah v'kidashto, that you honored him. Therefore, give it to them for free. But on occasionally you have something, you have Rosh Chodesh, you have some time that a lot of people want to buy the aliyah. Of course, you're allowed to. You're allowed to. Just don't do that on a regular basis because of the kiddushto.
But on Shabbat, on a weekly basis, is okay?
So he doesn't specify if it's Shabbat. It just says don't do it regularly. I would assume regularly means Mondays and Thursdays. On Shabbat, listen, if you have to, if the shul is not surviving, I'm sure you could, between his lines, find a way to say that that's not considered regularly because we didn't sell on Monday and Thursday. But you understand from him that unless it's a necessity, unless you have a bunch of people fighting over the mitzvah, let's say Haftarat Yonah, right? You're not going to sell it. 50 people want to buy that maftir of Yonah. So everybody, you're going to give him a chance. We're going to actually talk about that. That's one of the mitzvot that even though you had a Kohen go Rishon, he's allowed to buy this. It's such an important aliyah. No one's going to suspect that if you have a Kohen in a distance within the three olim twice, that there was a problem with the first Kohen. Everybody knows. People are going up now because this is an important aliyah and they want to buy it. So if you have a Seret HaDibot, you have certain aliyah that people want to bid, whatever, right? But usually that's not for the Levi anyway. But I'm saying the spirit is that don't usually sell it. Every once in a while, we're saying Shabbat, maybe Shabbat is considered every once in a while. It's once a week. Maybe. We have to discuss. All right. Now what happens, he says, you sold Aliyat Kohen to an Israel. The Kohen wasn't here, right? Not like our Uncle Mike that's always on time. The Kohen was late. They sold it to Israel, and by the time they finished the Mechirot, they're taking out the Sefer Torah from the Hechal. Who shows in the Bet Knesset? The Kohen. Let's say he had something and he got there late. So now what happens? The Israel wants to go up to Aliyat Kohen because there's no Kohen, and he paid for it already. But the Kohen just walked in. What do you say? What's the deal? What do we do? Should the guy say, hey, it's okay, there's a Kohen here, I give up? Or he said, no, I bought it fair and square. Sorry, the Kohen chance.
Sell it for more to the Kohen. No,
I would give it to the Kohen.
That's a business.
Yeah, because if you don't give to the Kohen, then the Kohen might look tainted. No?
Listen, whenever you say it, who said that?
William.
I thought it was Uncle Mike saying it. I wanted to say if he says it, he's not objective. We don't accept his I see, I can't see the faces sometimes. So what did you say? If we sell to the Kohen, what?
If you already sold to a non-Kohen and the Kohen walks in, and if you don't give it to a Kohen now, they might think, oh, the Kohen wasn't valid to begin with.
Interesting.
Maybe
we're concerned about what he's going to look like. So the spirit of the halakha is like what you're saying, which is that it's better to be mevatel to the Kohen. So even though I bought it, there's a Kohen now, give it to the Kohen. And he says that he doesn't have to pay. He's like, I'll give $100. Now the Kohen came, not only does he give it as a gift to the Kohen, but the shul shouldn't charge him. Even though he bought it, and usually when you give tzedakah, you don't want to take back. No, over here it says, you don't have to, I'm sorry. Yeah. You don't have to charge him. He says, but this is unless the Kohen agrees to go out. If the Kohen says, oh my God, someone already bought it, it's okay, I'm leaving. Okay, good, everybody's happy now. He paid and he got what is his friend's for. But if the Kohen doesn't notice, he doesn't want to go out, or he's an older person, and he's not going to get, like, why are they not giving me the aliyah? Better to be mevatel. You also don't have to make the payment And that way everybody is happy. All right. What about a katan, a young boy that is still not bar mitzvah? Can he get an aliyah to Torah even though he is not bar mitzvah, or no?
I say no.
No.
Right. Okay. So let's see. So lekatchila, you know what lekatchila means? To begin with, meaning ideally you don't give him an aliyah. But
No.
if he went up as one of the three olim on Mondays, Thursdays, or mincha shel Shabbat, b'diavad, after he already went up, wait, you're not 13 yet? No, my bar mitzvah is in 2 weeks. It's okay. You don't have to read again. Yotzim yedei chova, everybody is fine, everybody is covered. Lekatchila, don't do it, but if you did it, it's fine. But if this is a bar mitzvah boy, that let's say in a month or so he has a bar mitzvah, but what happened? In the month, he's going somewhere, he's not going to be here, and his parents said, no, let's do your bar mitzvah this Monday, because we're not going to be here. Everybody come, they bring candy, the boy is putting on tefillin, the father is there, everybody's celebrating, they bring a shofar, whatever they want to bring, and now you're going to tell him, sorry, lekatchila, we don't bring you up as a bar mitzvah boy? He says, no. If the boy is already putting on tefillin, and his parents are there to celebrate with him, then you could even give him the aliyah lekatchila. You're not going to make a person so uncomfortable. That's on Yom Chol. But on Shabbat, there is more leniency. On Shabbat, a boy that reached the age of chinuch. You know what the age of chinuch means? The age which he can be educated. Literally, halachically, that means ask him who is God. What is God? And he understands. Who do we pray to? He says, God. I remember one time we had in Shalei Rachamim, was it last Yom Kippur, or 2 Yom Kippurs ago, that Rabbi Biton, there was a brit. Someone had to say Borei Pri HaGefen and drink. So you're not allowed to drink on Yom Kippur. What do? One of the solutions that is brought down is to find a little boy that doesn't have to fast and give it to him. But you can't give it to him unless he understands who do we pray to. So I remember Rabbi Biton was searching for a boy because we had a brit, and he found a boy and he said, tell me something. Who do we pray to? And the boy said, what do you mean, who do we pray to? He tried to make sure that, okay, this boy is good to drink, right? So if a boy is in the age of chinuch, he understands who we pray to, on Shabbat, you are allowed to give him an aliyah, even from one of the 7. And it's a fully kosher aliyah. There is no problem with that. My barber, which is a Talmid Chacham, happens to be like the best shurim I hear is when I go to my barber. Half an hour of Divrei Torah, he takes his time, I don't mind. I'm always in a rush. I go to the barber, he tells me Divrei Torah, Baruch Hashem. There's a question, if you didn't wash your hands and they're cutting your hair, can you hear, can you not hear? But let's assume that everything is done in the right way. He told me that in his Bet Knesset, he's the Torah reader, but one aliyah, he always gives to his nephew. His nephew is 10 years old, Moroccan boy, he reads Moroccan, he says, if you hear this, it's like angels. And he's so accurate and perfect. Baruch Hashem, like the boys in our community, anyone that learned from all the Torah teachers we have in our community, especially the Levi family and all their students, everything is very accurate. So this boy, perfect. So one Shabbat, a big Talmid Chacham came to the shul, and he saw that this 10-year-old boy is not only going to read, he's getting the aliyah. So the rabbi said, with all due respect, he's not bar mitzvah, what are you doing? And the barber, which happens to be the usual Torah reader, he said, Kvod Rav, I know that some people are strict about this, but over here we follow the halacha, Yalkut Yosef, which is allowed the lekatchila, and I'm sorry, and this boy is going to get up. He said, after my nephew read, the rabbi was blown away. What was he concerned? The kid is going to read with mistakes. You're not going to be able to hear him. How can people be Yotzei Chova? The boy was prepared. So that goes without saying. You're going to give it to someone under bar mitzvah. If he's reading, make sure he knows how to read, he verbalizes, etc. So you can give him an aliyah, and even if he wants to read on Shabbat, of course he can read.
Oh.
But the custom is that you don't give him the first aliyah on Shabbat. Meaning if it's a boy kohen that is 10 years old, he says, if you did it, it's okay, but if you can prevent that, the custom is not to give him the first aliyah. Even though minadin, it is allowed. I guess not to start off with a 10-year-old going up to the Bama on Shabbat. All right. Now what happens, and this case is a familiar case to us, where you give an aliyah to someone that is mechalel Shabbat. He has a simcha, whatever it is, he came to Kanisa, and it's a mechalel Shabbat, he comes with a car, whatever it is. Is there a problem to give him aliyah? Is there not a problem? So the Yalkut Yosef discusses this, but we should know that the term of mechalel Shabbat b'farhesia, I think we've spoken about this before, has a lot of politics around it, which means not everybody agrees on what today is considered someone that doesn't keep Shabbat? Is it enough that someone just turns on the light on his house? Or does it have to be that this person, even though you taught him and even though he knows and that, he still doesn't care and he would do it in the face of the rabbi and he's not embarrassed? So there's a lot of, some opinions say, no, today no one is considered that. These are people that just weren't educated from a young age and therefore we can't blame them. But different opinions. But let's say that we've established that everybody agrees on someone that he is considered a Mechalel Shabbat B'Faresia. So that what you need to do is when you give him an Aliyah, you could give him an Aliyah, but the next Oleh have a Musif, meaning you need to have 7 Olim on Shabbat that are Shomer Shabbat. So if you give it to someone, you have a Simcha, and you have a family that's not Shomer Shabbat, you have 3 Olim, give 3 Musifim that are Shomer Shabbat, as long as at the end you've reached 7 Olim that are Shomer Shabbat. Right? He says also it would be good if the reading that was read by that Oleh that wasn't Shomer Shabbat, you repeat it. But Yalkut Yosef has midot. He says, but if he's going to notice, if it's not someone that has no idea what's happening, he can barely read. The guy sees, why are you repeating my Aliyah? He's going to get offended. You don't do that. The goal here is not to embarrass anybody, and that's more important. But if it's like, you're completing it later on somehow, and he's not going to notice, and you have a bunch of one after the other, and then the last Oleh that comes up reads like one long Aliyah, and no one noticed, and no one is offended, that would be the right way to do it. All right. Yeah, he mentions here again that there's a big machloket regarding what is considered someone that is not Shomer Shabbat. It's not so simple. So whenever you have a machloket, he says, just avoid the machloket. It's much more important to not have a controversy, not to have a machloket. Another type of person that we have a problem with him halachically regarding the Torah or the Shiva Olim is a person that shaves with a blade. A person that shaves with a blade halachically shouldn't be a chazan. That's one of the halachot regarding chazan. But he says regarding aliyot la Torah, there is no problem with him. Even though he shaves with a blade and it's isul from the Torah, okay. Not everybody keeps everything. Hopefully one day we all will. But that doesn't prevent him from getting an aliyah. Says the Yalkut Yosef, better to give him a musif. Don't let it be one of the 7. But if you got one of the 7, you definitely don't have to repeat it and don't make a scene and make sure not to embarrass him. All right. Now, what happens when you have an avel? No, alenu, you have an avel within the 7 days of avelut. The custom is that you don't call an aliyah la Torah for an avel in the first 7 days. But the Gabbai didn't know the halacha, whatever it is, and he called him up. And it's Shabbat. What do you think? The Oleh should go up to the Torah, or he says, sorry, avel here, no aliyah for me? What does he say?
You should go up. Once you call him up, you have to go up.
Amazing answer by Mr. Zar. Anybody think differently? If I'm asking,
we go with the flow.
You go with the flow.
Well, the Avel, you're kind of exempt on a Saturday. You have to change your clothes you wash. So if I use that logic and what Simon said, because he was just called already, I would lean on the fact of letting him. Well, but I know for a fact that you don't do it, but I don't know. I've never had this scenario. So I guess I don't know.
No,
Right.
but you're all saying right stuff. But the root, where does the root come from? The answer is that if you call him up, even though he's an avel, he goes up. Simon is saying, because once we learned, and we're going to touch that later on, maybe not this week, let's see, that the Chachamim say that if someone is called upon to the Torah and doesn't go up, chas v'chalila, it shortens his life. Mekatzer yamav u'shnotav. So therefore, the Sephardi custom is to be more careful. I know in America, in our community, for some reason, we call by name, but the Sephardi custom, they don't call people up by name. In my Bet Knesset, Yaleh Shlishi b'chavod, Yaleh Shani b'chavod. That's the original Sephardi way to do it. Today, you want to honor people, you say Yaakov ben David, you say the name, you want to give the person kavod. But the issue with that might be if the guy tells you, sorry, I have a sore throat, sorry, I can't go up today, whatever it is, and you called him by his name, it's already a danger of life to not go up. Not danger of life, it shortens life, whatever that means.
Our Gabbais love doing that, just calling you up without notice.
Yeah, because you're locked. They should teach the halacha first, and then you have to go up, and then the donation and help the Beit Knesset.
Just go up, Simon. It's okay. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We had an experience with Yigal on this, and I told the guy not to call me. He was about to give me an aliyah, and I'm like, you better not, because then I have to go up.
Why not?
I wasn't on a mood.
You know that once a month, everybody has to get an aliyah. Once I heard it today, because Rabbi Vadia was very important to him. Every person should try once a month to have an Aliyah. It's hard when it's a big community, but if you have an opportunity, you go to a small minyan or whatever it is, it's very important. Try once a month to get an Aliyah. It's very recommended.
Okay.
Now, regarding the Avel, the rule is, even though he is an Avel, there's another halakha with the Avelun, that there is no Avelut on Shabbat publicly. At home, all right, let's say, there's certain things that you won't do like usual. But in public, on Shabbat, there is no Avelut. So if they call you and you say, I don't go, someone says because he's Avel, then you're doing Avelut publicly. Shabbat is a happy day. We don't have public mourning on Shabbat, and therefore he should go and take the Aliyah. So now we are touching the topic of reading the Torah. The first halakha that is brought is what I just told you right now. Ashkenazim call by the name. Yalkut Yosef ben David Shlishi. That's the Ashkenazi custom. Says the Yalkut Yosef, our custom is not to do it, and it's better not to because of the danger that we just mentioned before. Can someone lo alenu that is blind go up to the Torah?
Why not? I would say yes.
I'll tell you why not. It's a good question. Because today we have a Torah reader. He is not originally supposed to be there. The person that goes to Aliyah is the person that reads the Torah. Everybody used to know their Torah and by heart. If you go to Yemenite shul, all the Yemenites know the whole Torah by heart. At least the real Yemenites. And it's hard to understand what they're reading. That's a different topic, but they know it by heart. But today it changed, and we don't want to embarrass any of the Olim, so we put a Torah reader over there so that he reads for everybody and everything is okay. But it's supposed to be him reading. Can he read without seeing? He can't read by heart. He has to read from the reading Torah. It's the halakha. So therefore, there may be a problem with a blind man. So in the earlier halachot that came out by Rav Ovadia, he said that you are allowed to give a blind man an aliyah. But Yalkut Yosef says, later in my father's life, he was chazarbo. He went back and he said, honestly, better not to give him an aliyah lekatchila. Don't call him up. But if the Gabbai already called him up, don't bring him down. Again, this is a very important halakha. We don't embarrass people. He's already up there. Why? Because there are opinions that it's allowed. That's why originally Rav Ovadia held that you should call him up. There are opinions. Later in his life, he held by the opinions that there's a problem for him to read because it's not just him, right? This is a chovat tzibur. This is an obligation of the community to hear the olim. And if he's not Yitzei de Chova and Motzei de Chova, he's not only getting himself in trouble, but what about all the other people? So says Rav Ovadia, it's better to be careful. But if he's already up there, we're not going to embarrass him and take him down because there is an opinion to lean on to give him an aliyah. What's the right way to do it? Now let's say, Nick, you hear me? Now Nick, they call him up, Yamod, Nick Atzadik, Bechavod. They call Nick up to the stage. How do we say the bracha of the Torah? What's the process? We just stand there, we have to hold something, we have to look somewhere, How do you do it when you go up?
Hold the side of the Torah, the right side, and I say, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, and then the barachot, Baruch Hashem HaMevorach, etc. Right. So what you said is very important. You said holding the sides of the Torah. So let's see what is required from a person that goes up to the Torah to do. First of all, the Baal Koreh, the person reading the Torah for you, has to show you where you're holding right now. Because you're about to start reading, and even though you think he's the reader, the Olel Torah has a very big obligation. What's his obligation? He has to verbalize the Torah reading together with the reader. He whispers it to himself, and the Torah reader reads it out loud so everybody can hear. But there's a question. The son-in-law of Budbul says that if you know the guy is not going to read, it's one of those people that go up, say the bracha. It happened to me once I was reading. The guy's over there. He's not even looking at the Torah. He's signing to people. You're in the middle of Kriyat Torah. If he didn't read at least 3 psukim, his barachot levatala, you don't even answer amen. That's what the Rav Budbul says. There's a machloket, Rav Ophir Malka holds differently. But just, it's not a simple thing to go up there and not to read. So the obligation that we have is to know where we are starting. He shows you with the finger so that you start reading with him. They don't always hold the finger up. It's good, but there's no halachic requirement. The reason they hold the finger is for the guy that just came up for the aliyah, that he will look and read. And sometimes you notice that the guy is not holding. He's not going to read. You got to tell him, listen, I want you to read with me, okay? You got to do it in a nice, polite way. One time I noticed the guy, and I tried saying to him in a sweet way. I saw that the bracha was difficult for him. And I said to myself, okay, then how is he going to read right now? He probably doesn't know that easier. I said, listen, I'm going to start reading. You read with me, okay? The guy, I wasn't sure he understood or not. So the Gabbai understood me. And the Gabbai goes to him like, listen, word for word. You got to read with him word for word. Okay? He did the job that I tried not to do, but oh, Hashem, at the end, the halacha worked. So you have to read with him, all right? So he shows you where to begin. And some say that before you verbalize the beracha, and Baruchu et Hashem HaMevorach, Baruch Hashem v'Chol, you need to close the book, right? With the Ashkenazim, they roll it together. For us, we can close the book or put a handkerchief to close the letters. Anybody know what's the source of that? Why do you need to close the book?
I think so people don't think the bracha is written in the Torah.
Exactly. That's the reason. Some people may think, oh, brachot are in the Torah. There's no brachot in the Torah. The brachot are on the side. The Torah is a complete set, like it was given in Har Sinai. No brachot. But says the Yalkut Yosef, it's okay. The Rambam holds that you don't really have to be concerned about that and close the book, and therefore you don't have to do it. We do it. I do it. I close it. Just what's the minus? I'm gaining the opinion that says that you should do it. Okay? There's nothing to lose. It's not creating a controversy. When you do stuff that are extra and it's bothering other people and creates a controversy, that's a problem. But if you want to do something extra, it doesn't concern anyone, no one feels it, so yeah, you could do that, but it says that Yalkut Yosef it's not a requirement. But he says for the final beracha, once you finish reading, over there he says definitely close the book or cover. I don't know why he differentiates where over there he feels like it's more important than in the beginning, but that's how he holds. At the end, it definitely should be closed. In the beginning, I don't know, maybe when the reader comes to read, if you're going to close it on him, sometimes it's not always separated so evenly and easily that you could right away see where you begin. Happened to me once. I remember in my bar mitzvah, as a kid reading, one of the pages was all tight letter. I couldn't find where I'm beginning. Once they close the book, now I have to go back and the crowd is getting tired, So, but at the end, anyway, you have time, then they do Mishiberach, you're going to open again, you're going to find, maybe that's the reason. But anyway, at the end, you definitely should close it. All right, we have one more minute. Let's try to get one more halacha. Someone went to the Torah. He's an old man. He barely has a voice. Nobody heard his beracha. And then he starts looking at you like, start reading it. No one heard you. What do? Do we require him to read again? They have to say the beracha again? Or do we start reading?
But I would start reading out of respect to the old man too, and not
That's the halacha. That's the halacha. Not just an old man. I said an old man. You're right. Not just anyone that read it whispered. Sometimes people are embarrassed. They're uncomfortable doing like a public scene. So they read it quietly. You don't have to repeat. Lekatchila, you shouldn't do that. People are here. They want to hear the beracha. But if he did it, you don't have to make him go back. All right. We're going to hold over here, Rabotai. Tefillah mitzvot.
Baruch. Thank you, Ziv.
Baruch, thank you.
We're going to have
Thank you
another
so
class
much.
for Purim. Maybe we talk a little about Purim next.
Thank you, Ziv.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Talk to
See you. Ciao.